No, it's amazing because truly, I believe, and that's why we're launching this whole campaign, that there's a lot of luxury under $1 million. I mean, I don't know where the industry came up with this number, but the truth is luxury is a lifestyle choice.
Welcome to another episode of Luxury Homes by Stephanie, and we are here with Alan Gabay, the top broker, one of the top brokers from New York, the Hamptons, Miami, and Palm Beach, the director of luxury sale with the Ryan Serhant Group.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be here. I really enjoy it. It's great. Thank you for asking me to be on the podcast. And, you know, it's just, been an amazing ride. I mean, we've both been in real estate for a long time, which is great. We both understand this industry. We met dealing in real estate. You invited me to come here, and I'm very proud to be able to come here and really talk about, you know, what's going on in our industry. Because, you know, it's changing like crazy. I mean, this is not the industry it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Unfortunately, I've been doing this now for 20 years. I know you haven't because my hair was brown when I started. And now look at it.
Well, thank you for accepting our invite. And it's a pleasure to have you here and to tell us more about the affordable luxury living in Miami.
I will. I mean, it's been an amazing ride because when I started doing this industry 20 years ago, it was totally different than it is now. You know, I come out of New York, but of course, New Yorkers have always been coming down to Miami and Florida anyway. You know, it is definitely the sixth borough, as they said, because you can't even go down the streets now without meeting people from New York everywhere. And in our business, that's just the way it is. But what's been amazing is the change and shift in what is considered the luxury market. When we first started, and I'll say when I first started because I'm a little bit older, but not that much. Or anyway, luxury was somehow always defined as being $1 million plus. Now, 20 years ago when I started in real estate, $1 million was a lot of money. But in today's market now, $1 million isn't considered that much anymore. You know, and that's also been part of the change. What's going on is educating people about that fact, because, you know, there's a lot of people, $1 million is still a lot of money, you know, and we started recently, and I'll talk a little about my history in a minute with some of the properties we did. But what I'm really excited about is the fact that we're now launching a campaign called Affordable Luxury Living in Miami, in Brickell, in, you know, the Palm Beaches, in Florida in general, and trying to educate people to the fact that, you know, people think $1 million is a no-brainer anymore. But you know what? It's still a lot of money to people.
I agree with you. And actually, I recently did a sale under $1 million in Brickell. Actually, it was a penthouse in the 500 Brickell.
Right.
And during the pandemic, we sold it for $750.
That's, you know,
turnkey.
No, it's amazing because truly, I believe, and that's why we're launching this whole campaign, that there's a lot of luxury under $1 million. I mean, I don't know where the industry came up with this number, but the truth is luxury is a lifestyle choice. Luxury is more about where you want to live, what your feeling of luxury is. I found a long time ago the definition of luxury has changed over the years, but it's really more of an experience and a lifestyle choice than it is a number.
For me, I would say it's a state of mind, luxury. It's how you feel, the experience that you have when you enter the lobby of a condo.
Right.
If you feel
And,
luxury.
You know, and some people want a huge lobby. Some people like a very small lobby. Some people want a small boutique building. Some people want a big building. Some people want a house. Some people want a townhouse. You know, it's defined all over the place. And we as brokers, we're not the ones that should be defining what somebody else's luxury lifestyle is. That's for an individual on their own. But as you said, in 500 Brickell, because right now in Brickell, we're finding there is so much inventory under $1 million. And a lot of this property came up during the recession. When the banks took it over, a large, in Miami, it was South Americans coming in with cash, buying these properties, and they were buying them really inexpensive. And now it's like they're selling them because they're 15 years old, 18 years old, and they're realizing they need new kitchens, new bathrooms, new air conditioning, and they don't want to do it anymore. Or if they're doing it, they get a little bit more money because it's turnkey, move-in ready.
That's exactly what I experienced. The seller was a South American, but he had redone the unit completely, and that's why it sold into multiple offers. And
right.
Yeah, there was nothing else to do. He had invested over $150,000 redoing the unit when he first bought it, and it held its value and actually did very well and sold it above what we had originally bought it.
That's fantastic. What we have seen is that if you price it right, it sells fast. And in today's market, there is so many people continuing to come to Florida all the time. But we find whether it's somebody who's younger, somebody middle-aged who might want a vacation home, somebody who's a retiree, whatever it is, not everybody's looking to spend $5 million on a 4,000 square foot flow-through apartment with views everywhere. Some people just want a place to come down to, especially if they're coming to Brickell now, which is the second densest urban core in the US outside of Manhattan. A lot of people are just coming because they want the excitement, and they want what Miami gives you, which is an amazing cultural diversity. It gives you a beautiful location. You can go to New York in 3 hours. You can go to South America in 3 hours. And at the same time, they just want to walk downstairs and be able to go get a coffee, go to a bar, go to a restaurant. They want that urban feel like Manhattan, but they want to be down in the sun and the fun all year long.
Exactly, and that's what we really saw in Brickell, especially for young people.
Right.
Or retirees, or they could just live in Brickell. They could live there, they could work there, and you could play there without having to drive a car. So that's what luxury can be for them, without having to spend $1 million. Right. Have all that within
and you happen
one
to be,
location.
Right, because I myself, in the last a month or so, we sold 8 or 9 units, whether it was in 500 Brickell, whether it was in Icon, whether it was in Epic, whether it was on Brickell in the River, or 20 other buildings that went up in Brickell. They were all there. We sold something in a building called Neo Vertica, which was the first condo building in Brickell, and we sold a 2-bedroom, 1,200 square foot unit for $650. And we priced it at $700, and we had multiple offers in the first week, and it sold within 10 days.
And at the end of the day, we all go to the same restaurants.
Right.
We all go to the same places. We walk the same streets. We may not have the same views, because if it's coming to be like the Manhattan of the South, you won't have those views everywhere.
But you have the lifestyle.
But you have the lifestyle, you have the location, and for some people, this is luxury, not to have to drive.
Right.
You just ride the metro and go from Brickell to Miami, for downtown Miami, Edgewater, just riding the metro.
You're 100% right. And what you said earlier about selling this apartment at 500 Brickell for $750, totally renovated, I mean, that's still an amazing price. We've done the same thing. I sold renovated units at 500 Brickell for $650, $675 for 1-bedrooms. We did the same thing in Icon. I mean, it's amazing what's out there. But people don't realize it, because all people think when they come to Florida is they have to spend $3 million or $4 million or $5 million to get something. And how much is it from South America? But even Brickell now has become more and more about the U.S. is coming here. More people are coming from the Northeast all the time and the Northwest. And they all want this lifestyle that we have in Florida. And that's why we're here. And that's why we know about it. Because I have sold so much just in the last year. We're having so many inquiries about what can we get for under $1 million? What can we get for under $750,000? That's all I want. The mortgage rates are very expensive. The homeowners associations are more expensive than it used to be because Florida has new rules now about funding their reserves. I mean, it's just becoming more expensive. The insurance costs have become more expensive down here. And when people start looking at the numbers, they're like, do I have to spend $1 million? Can't I find something for $600 or $700? When you figure it all in together. And the truth is, yes, you've sold it, I've sold it. We continue to get more and more inquiries. And even when I get inquiries, and this is my little thing here, is I have what I call my 3 questions. And I ask every buyer who's coming down here, 1, what type of property do you want? Do you want a house? Do you want a townhouse? Do you want a condo? What is it that where do you want to be? Second, I'll ask somebody, what location you want to be. And the third, I'll ask somebody, when you get up in the morning and you go to your living room window, what do you want to see? And if somebody tells me they want a 3-bedroom, 1,800 square foot apartment in South Beach on the ocean, I'll tell them what it's going to cost. Because we know, as brokers, never talk money right away. Let's help somebody talk about what's your lifestyle, what's your experience, what do you want to do every day, Don't you see that also?
I see that, and we're really guiding them as experts and knowing our market, they know what they want because for the most part, they've already shopped online. Sometimes they even know more than you. They could tell you, oh, well, this is where I want to be, but they think maybe they'll get it for a lot less. But I think we kind of give them the reality by our expertise and what they could get and try to guide them and pinpoint. And then
what you said is so perfect because it brings to mind everybody when you're working with a buyer as opposed to a seller. I'll tell them all the time now, send me a picture. You went online. Send me a couple of the listings that you lack. That way you get an understanding of their style, the size, their price, what they're looking for. You don't have to ask a million things. They'll give you something, but we're still the experts, and we're supposed to help piece together what they want, what their expectation is, and what they can really get.
And vice versa, we could also send them because they might not know what they want.
Right.
They might know, well, I want this, but it might not be realistic with what they could afford, or sometimes they have no idea. So we could send them pictures of properties available, and they'll give you the feedback, and then you'll know exactly their style as well.
Oh, you're 100% right. And then the other thing I always ask also is, depending on the age group of who it is. If it's somebody young, that they might be more interested in the nightlife and the activity that they're doing. Like, why are they coming to Florida? If it's, somebody in their middle age, they might just be looking for a vacation home to come. If it's a retiree, this could be their primary residence now, and are they golfers? Do they want to be in a golf community? Is it important for them to be by the ocean? Are they horse people? Do they want to be in horse country? I mean, Florida offers all of these options to people. But I have found that most buyers don't know how to express what they want. And we as the brokers are supposed to, we can't read their minds, but they expect us to. So instead, if you ask the right questions, you can help guide them to the right property. And again, going back to my concept, which not just me, but what I'm doing, this affordable luxury living, we're finding that it's really becoming very popular. Just like you were able to sell a 2-bedroom for $750,000. People don't think that's realistic anymore, especially if you're coming from a city like New York or Los Angeles. You're like, nothing costs that. You can't get an apartment that size and that price range. And you know what? You can. And that's what we're here. That's our job. And if we're on the listing side, we need to be realistic, because if we're in that price range and you listed correctly, we'll sell it fast. I find that the properties that we have, whether on the buying side or the listing side, if it's the right price, it goes fast.
And when you educate the seller, you could actually tell them the reality that what prices were
Right.
over $1 million, no longer they have to adjust the price.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, COVID
Come back.
really did a big change in this Florida real estate market more than almost anywhere else, because we had a huge influx of people coming here. And all of a sudden, prices went up like crazy. And now everything's getting readjusted again back to a normal pricing. And a lot of sellers don't understand why they can't get the price that, oh, in COVID, my neighbor got this price. And the same thing on the buying side, people are like, I'm not paying those prices anymore, because I go online and I see what I can find now. And I have found that pricing, sites like Zillow have been wonderful. Everybody goes, oh, I hate it. But I found that it's very informative and educational, because you can find out what somebody wants by saying, send me listings of what you're looking at. And then you can educate them why they can't get that. Or, yes, that's out there, but you know what? It's gone already. And, it's been an amazing turnaround in what's been going on in Florida real estate. And coming out of the New York market, and so many of my clients come from the Northeast, they can't believe the changes and the shifts that's happened down here. And most of the reason things have gotten so expensive is just because the land got expensive, the building materials got expensive. It's just been crazy what happened down here with COVID. But I find that it's all readjusting itself again. And you must see that too going on.
I do. I found that prices have leveled off and more in equilibrium.
Right.
And sellers are realizing, we have to tell them, instead of sitting with a listing overpriced for a long time, and just try to adjust to the market, then you'll never give your property away. And they're afraid that they're not gonna have room for negotiation if they don't keep it at a certain price. And in the end, I think it's the opposite.
Right.
You lower the price and even price under the market, then you start seeing traffic, people coming in, and
sometimes you get a bidding war. People, because they realize.
It happens still that you get into multiple offers and people betting above the price, the asking.
Yeah, no, I find the same thing with my clients. It's just amazing to me how many people still want to believe they can get those prices in Florida that they were getting during the COVID years. But you know what? It's over. If you have a good property and you list it correctly, it's going to sell fast. And I tell my buyers, if you see something and you really like it, you better jump on it, because good stuff priced right goes fast. And people just don't really seem to get that yet. And it's our job to, educate. I find that most of what we do all day long as brokers is education more than anything else.
We educate ourselves to educate them.
Right.
We're always learning.
No, it's very true, because people just expect us to know it all. And they come to us because of our expertise in our markets that we work in. And I know with myself, that's all that happens all day long. It's informing and education. Because, how many times, it's the old rules, sellers want more than it's worth, and buyers want to pay less than it's worth. And no matter what city we're in, that's the rule of thumb, I find, no matter where I'm doing business. And I do business all over the country, and I find that it's still a mindset. Everyone thinks people are too attached to their property sometimes and don't want to let go. They think it's so special. It was special to them. Doesn't mean it's special to the next person. Or when I find somebody comes in and, and they will do a gut renovation on something. And, this happened to me once. I sold a house, and the family came back like 2 years later to see the house. And it was like, that's not my house. And they were so upset. And it was like, you got your money. It's real estate. Like, you can't be too attached to it, because we're in an ever-changing market more than anything else. I think more than any other type of business. Our business is always changing quick and fast with the times.
I agree, it's so true. And for real estate, I mean, the investment can be emotional always.
Yes.
Whether you buy or sell, you're looking at numbers.
Yes. Well, listen, ultimately, it is a numbers game. People have to understand that. But, you really need to build a relationship and a rapport with either your listing client or your buyer, because they have to believe that you're the expert. And that's why they came to you, and that's why they came to us. But that's why now that we're really launching this affordable luxury living, it's really educating people that this is today's market again. But like I said, we have sold so many properties recently. And in the last 6 months or so, I'm getting more and more calls from either other brokers in other cities that are referring clients. And they're like, listen, they only want to spend up to $1 million. What do you have? And now that we've been posting that we've been doing a lot of business in this price range, we're getting more and more people asking us, a lot of brokers, oh, I have clients, what do you have that's off market? What do you have here? What do you have there? Or we find a buyer who says, I want this building. Find me something in that building at this price range. And you know what our job is? Start making phone calls to owners going, are you looking to sell? We'll do that all day long, because if it's the right price, people will sell it. It's not a primary residence. Florida is, I think, probably one of the few states, if not the only state, that has less people as a primary and more people as a vacation home or an investment property. And when they see the numbers right, they're going to sell. And that's what our job is to, connect the buyer and the seller together and to find them the property that's right for them.
Absolutely. The buyers are not only buying in Miami, like you said, they're second home, third home, then they could be snowbirds coming in the high season and living in the Northeast, in Canada, in Europe, in South America. And they don't necessarily want to invest as much because maybe the rest of the time they may have also to rent it out to see return on their investment.
Right.
And they feel like they may not want to spend as much.
That's really interesting that you say that, because one of the trends that's happening down here in Miami right now is all of these furnished short-term rental condos. I mean, it's a test market, Miami, more than anything else. And these buildings sell through right away, because those are the investor-driven properties anymore. It's no longer the regular condo. It's the short-term rentals, which is basically like being in a hotel.
That's probably to answer the demand for the shortage of hotels. When they have so many events going on, there's not enough hotels for all those venues.
And that again is part of the lifestyle, because I have clients that will never buy in one of those because they want, when they come to their property, they don't want to know that there's a party going on either side of them. And yet there's other people that will love that. It really depends. That's why it's so important for us as brokers to really have an understanding of who our client is, whether it's the listing or the buying side, and to really get them what they want.
I had an example at the Icon Brickell of one of my clients that said, I want to be in the pool with the hotel guests. I like that. For me, that's luxury.
That's really funny, since most of the time they want separate and they don't want to be in the same property. I mean, I'm doing that right now up at in Bal Harbour at the Ritz, and St. Regis. I'm sorry. And the condo towers have their own pools, and that's why my clients like living up there, because they don't have to share the amenities with the hotel component. And they were very smart when they built it that way. And whether it's somebody renting or somebody buying, they feel like they're in a building with homeowners, not in a building with the hotel component. Although they love sharing the restaurants with them, and that's why they want those buildings and they want that brand. But that was one of the few properties where the condos got their own pool, which was very important to my clients. you know, and it's just amazing what's going on. And even here in Bricklestill, I mean, look at all the new building that's going up between the Ciprianis, the St. Regis, you know, the Dolce & Gabbana building that's going up. We have, you know, they just built one Missoni, but that was over in
Edgewater.
Yeah, that was in Edgewater. But, you know, one after another after another. I think every luxury brand is now the new, you know, the new face of real estate, because they do sell faster. Whether it's Fendi, whether it's Bentley, I mean, whatever it is, it's amazing that that's what's happening. But Florida seems to be an epicenter for that. And we're finding more and more of that happening all the time. And I'm sure you must have clients also that they only want the name. Like the Mercedes-Benz places where we're selling it as Sirhan, and you had clients, you were there right away, one of the first agents to come in to want to talk to us, because all they had to do was see the name, you know, Mercedes-Benz. Oh, I want that. It exudes luxury. Even though we sold a tremendous amount of them, we're under $1 million for studios and one bedrooms, and they all blew out. But the name exudes a level of building and a level of luxury and a lifestyle that they're not going to get somewhere else.
That's amazing how the Mercedes-Benz Miami had like a record sale in such a short time.
Right, we sold over 100 units in like the first couple of days. It was unbelievable how quick it went.
Just for the name, just for the brand.
Yeah, and the fact that they were affordable luxury, because they were less than $1 million. Now, of course, there's ones over $1 million, but the ones under $1 million went fast. And we find that happening in all of the projects that are going on, you know, whether it's the, which is it? The Standard that they did in Midtown. You know, I mean, it was the first Standard, and it went, you know, and it blew out because they were under $1 million. But I got to tell you, this has been amazing. I really have enjoyed our conversation, and I'm so happy that you allowed me to be here with you and to talk. And I hope that sometime we can do this again.
Thank you so much. This was so valuable, Alan. And let me ask you something. Where could we find you, and how could people reach you?
Well, I'm easy to find, but basically you can go to my Instagram, Alan Gabay Realtor, or you can just Google me. I'm on all of the social media sites, and I actually have a telephone for people that want to go old school and actually call me up. You can find it anywhere. So just Google me, and I'm around for you. And this has been an amazing experience, and I've loved our conversations, and I want to thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Likewise, thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much.